Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of the Back of the Pack podcast brought to you by OKKC Sports. And I'm your host, Kyle Walker. Hey, right off the bat, I want to let you guys know we're going to talk about something that's really big in the world of running right now, unfortunately. So, this is going to be kind of mature subject matter. Just listener discretion is advised. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, to kind of go over the story, we're going to have to talk about some unpleasant things. If you are at all following the news, then you know the story now of Eliza Fletcher, the runner in Memphis, Tennessee, who went missing on Friday morning. I'm just going to give you some of the high points of the story kind of before we talk about it. Eliza Fletcher, she is a teacher out in Memphis, 38 years old. She went out for a run, as she always does. I guess she is a Boston Marathon level runner, and she was, for all intents and purposes, she was running early. She was absolutely stalked by a person who very much intended to do her harm. She was abducted. She was unfortunately murdered. The person who has been accused of this is in custody. His bond has been revoked. It started off as a $510,000 bond. After the body was found, it was taken away. There is no more bond for the person who is accused of her murder. I will not mention his name. I will not give that very bad word any more attention than he's already going to get for what has happened. And so her body was found later. I don't know the manner in which she was killed. This person was caught on surveillance cameras, basically stalking her, and then later trying to clean the evidence out of his car. And again, her body was found behind an abandoned house somewhere in Memphis, Tennessee. So that is really the extent of the story. I know most people already know about it. They've already heard the gory details, which I am not going to say here. And as you can tell, this is a very upsetting situation. And what I want to do for this episode, and I can almost guarantee you this is not going to be a very long episode because I don't want to dwell on this any more than we have to. I want to go over, runner safety, and more specifically, and you can call me names if you want, runner safety as it pertains to women. We should not, in this day and age, have to do this. Okay, we should not have to have this conversation. I don't want to have this conversation, but unfortunately, this is still a very real threat in our day and time. And so I want all runners to be safe. And on this particular show, I just did some quick research. I'm going to tell you what other women runners have found brings them safety on their runs. Okay, please don't think that I'm trying to be some kind of a sexist asshole here. I'm really, really not. I want everyone to be safe. Unfortunately, this woman was targeted as a lone female runner in the early mornings where she was alone, where she was an easy target. If you have seen pictures of the person accused of this crime, you could see how he probably did not have any problems manhandling what I assume is 105, 110 pound marathon runner who probably never even saw the situation coming. So we're just going to go over a few things. Okay. These are just tips that I found online. These are from women runners for women runners. And again, I'm sorry that we have to talk about this. I don't want to have to sit here and say, women, you need to not run alone. You need to always have someone with you. No, screw that. What I'm going to say is we should not live in a world where anyone would have to do that. We shouldn't be living here where runners have to worry about their safety. And women, it's not just you. Let's go back, 2 years to Ahmaud Arbery, the gentleman who was out for a run himself and who was targeted and hunted and stalked by, 2 or 3 complete pieces of trash who then killed him. So it is not just women. This is happening with runners of color and with women. And I'm sure there's other examples. Look, I am a fat white man. All right. I'm not worried when I go out for a run. I can go out for a run early in the morning. I can go out or late at night. I can go out when it's light. I can go out when it's dark. And I have very little to no concern for my well-being because I'm not the type of person that's going to be targeted. So I'm saying all this as a fat white guy who knows I have nothing to worry about, but I completely understand and appreciate that so many of you do. So many runners of color have to be careful because racism, another thing that should not be a thing today, and it is. And then women, because there are those predators out there who will see you as targets, rightly, wrongly, and of course it's not rightly, wrongly, they will see you as targets. And so we have to now talk about this because it's in the news. A elite level runner has been murdered, and whatever they find, and I think they already have enough evidence to put this gentleman away for life. I hope they do. I hope they put him away for life, throw away the key, and he is never heard from again. So some of the tips I have found, and these are precautions. And again, I'm so sorry that we even have to talk about this. Number one, always tell someone where you are going. And that makes sense. If you're going for a run, say, hey, I'm going for a run to your spouse, partner, significant other, adult kids, mother, grandmother, father, grandfather, whoever. Let someone know that you're going. Yeah, you can't just go out your door and go for a run these days. You're going to actually have to plan ahead, as ridiculous as that may sound. Number two, stay on well-traveled and well-lit roads. Don't take shortcuts through woods, poorly lit areas, etc. Okay, so last night I went out on a 5-mile walk. It wasn't a run. I wanted to test a new route that I kind of had in my head, and I wanted to see how long it was. And so I just wanted to go for a walk. Twice. Again, this was after 9 o'clock at night. Twice. It was pitch black. I went through a heavily wooded area, through a park. There were no lights. There was no one around. I had to pull my cell phone out and use flashlight so that I could see. But I don't have to worry about that. There was no one there who was waiting for me. And it's ridiculous that we even have to talk about this. So women and anyone who is at risk, and damn near everyone is at risk, that's something you have to look out for. Even though you might have a really nice park by you and it has a really great running path, you now have to be careful at night because there's pieces of shit out there who want to hurt you. Number three, if possible, run with a dog, a group, or at least one other person. Because again, we can't do things by ourselves anymore. Number four, ditch the headphones. For this, I understand the logic, but I can't do this in practice. But again, this is just me talking. I understand that without your headphones, you are definitely more attuned to the things going on around you. So, as unfortunate as it is to say, if you are running, if it is dark outside, if it is really early or really late, maybe don't listen to the music so that you can have a better grasp of the noises and surroundings in your area. And if something sounds a little off, maybe you'll hear it. Number five, bring your phone, which I think at this point we all do. Number six, if someone looks shady to you, cross the street or go the other way. Yeah, I get it. Again, it makes sense. But when you're out on your average everyday run, how many times do you cross paths with someone? In my neighborhood, it's a lot. And if you're unfortunately a female runner who has to worry about this stuff, what are you going to do? You're going to be darting across the street every time someone's coming down the sidewalk? Like, that sucks. It's going to add some extra distance to your run. That's for sure. Number seven, vary your routes and don't be predictable. Now, again, I think we're going to learn more about this situation in the news. It definitely sounds like this was a person with knowledge of this runner's route. So, yeah, mix it up. We all have our favorite routes, the ones that we really like to do, the ones that we know, where you know every twist, every turn, where you're going to walk, or where you can make up a little speed. But yeah, if it's going to keep you safer to vary your route, sometimes do the 3-mile route that you love, sometimes do it counterclockwise, sometimes hit the 4-miler, sometimes try something new, but the lighting's good. All these are options. Know where you're going. Looking confused and lost can make you a target. Okay. It's not something I'd ever really thought of before. I don't really see too many runners out there looking confused and lost. Thankfully, in today's world, with all of our phones and GPSs, lost isn't much of an issue anymore. Number 9, don't be distracted. Perpetrators specifically look for people who aren't 100% aware of their surroundings. Okay, so if you take it down to a walk and you're fiddling with your phone, or maybe you turn your back to the street and you're retying your shoes, any of these can look like distractions, and I guess, according to this, can make you a target. So something to be aware of. If you're going to bend over and tie your shoes, make sure your backside is maybe to a wall or to a fence. Just something where you can't get grabbed without seeing the person coming. Number 10, run confidently, meaning tall and focused to display confidence. Okay. Again, this is from womensrunning.com. So they know what they're talking about. Run confidently. And this is like the other one. It's like looking confused and lost, run confidently. I don't ever see anyone who runs unconfidently. Like if you're running, I assume you're pretty confident because you're out there running. You know what you're doing. So that's what they say. Number 11, trust your gut. If something or someone doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And that's a big one right there. Trust your instincts, trust your gut. If something feels off, there's a car crawling a little too slow to you, it's time to make a phone call. Go ahead and hit that emergency button on your phone, run across the street, run away, whatever you need to do. I mean, what I do like is we are runners. I like our chances to get away from people when push actually comes to shove, but you got to see them coming. And if you don't, that's when you're really in trouble. And it sounds like in the situation in the news, that was a problem. This person stalked her, pulled ahead of her, waited for her to get to the point in the route where they would cross paths, basically just jumped out of the car and tackled her to the ground, drug her back in the car and sped off. So that person knew there wasn't a foot race. If there was a race, I would have liked her chances of getting away. So again, that was from Women's Running. That was some precautions that they recommend to be safe as a woman running. Again, it all makes sense. Now I went and I found some other ones. This was actually on NBC News because, of course, all the major news networks are talking about it. Some of these are actually going to be repeats, but this is something that they've mentioned a lot of stuff to try and keep everyone safe. And so some of the things they said, again, on NBC News, risk aversion is the key here, not risk elimination, which is impossible. Part of what helps women runners stay confident is taking safety precautions. This doesn't mean they're guaranteeing their safety. That's not possible. Or that anyone who has been hurt or worse while running could have been spared had they been taking more precautions, and because that's victim blaming. What it does mean is that they're having better, less stressful workouts by practicing risk aversion. So they talk about risk aversion, and here's some of the things they list. Run in populated areas in the daytime. Again, I understand this and it makes sense. I hate that we have to say it. And I know I'm beating a dead horse on this one, and I apologize. But I hate saying you can only run from sun up to sundown, and you can only run where streets are well populated with traffic. You can't enjoy a nice walking path. You can't go to that beautiful park out in Lewisburg. You can't go to places where there's not going to be a lot of people around, because now all of a sudden you have to worry about your safety because there's jackasses out there doing bad things. It sucks that we have to say that. They go on to say predators will typically only attack when nobody else is around. While it might be nice to run in the woods, perhaps, and this even says, perhaps women can choose to run in a more popular park where others will be around. Also, women should avoid running at night. Next one, ditch the earbuds. Like I said, there's going to be some repeats on here. They go on to say, under the ditching the earbuds part, one important thing, this is a person speaking to the reporter, one important thing changed in my running routine is that unless I am around a lot of people or running on the boardwalk during the day, I no longer put headphones on. This says Christy Maruka, a fitness enthusiast who runs and speed walks daily. Headphones playing music is distracting, and I would zone out listening and thus be unable to hear if someone is coming up behind me or at me. As much as I enjoy running to music, it's really not safe. It says Crane makes a compromise. When I go running, I wear my broken headphones, she says. The right earbud doesn't work, so I can still be aware of my surroundings. At night, Crane dishes the earbuds altogether, feeling that the mere appearance of them make her appear like she's not aware of her surroundings. So I want to limit the view of me, especially when it's semi-dark outside. And you guys know me, I can't run without music. So ditching the earbuds, again, not that I personally am worried. I feel it's unfortunate for those who now have to consider running without music, because music is a huge part to my running. Another one they say here is carry pepper spray, only if you're trained to use it. So again, if you want to carry more weight on you, you can carry pepper spray, but it is a very wonderful deterrent, and not only to bad people doing bad things, possibility of unfriendly loose dogs, other animals, depending on where you run. Here in Kansas, not much of a worry about that, but it is definitely a deterrent to a lot of things. Let someone know where you are and use GPS tracking. Okay, we went over this the first time around. And this one says nail these self-defense maneuvers, and they list a whole bunch here. If grabbed or pulled or attempted to be thrown to the ground, drop your center of gravity to help keep your balance. Get in a wider than normal stance so you won't be knocked down easily. Let's see. Then it says, then acquire and fire. Acquire the most effective soft targets on a male attacker and fire away. Those three targets are eyes, throat, and groin. Boy, the way they say acquire and fire makes you think that this is going to be a firearm type thing. But no, ladies, if you're being attacked, yes, you know all three of those places. Go for the eyes, go for the throat, or go for the junk. And then just don't stop. Beat them until they don't want to live anymore. Jab the fingers into the eye. Punch straight into the throat to disrupt breathing. Punch or knee the groin in hopes to loosen up a grab or hold on to you. Keep firing away until you have a moment to possibly escape. All the while, be sure to try and dodge or block any blows coming to your head and face. If thrown to the ground, try to remember that the tools you have standing are the same ones you have on the ground and that you can still fight back. Keep firing away with your hands, fists, and kick with your legs. You can use your hips to throw an attacker off of you. This says join or start a local running group that addresses your concerns. So there are definitely running groups here in town. I know that I think it's Kansas City Track Club, or I think they're Kansas City Running Club now. They just started a running group in Shawnee where I am at. And so I've definitely seen pictures from them where they are running as a group. I've seen as few as 4 and as many as maybe 6 or 8, maybe even 8 to 10. They get together on Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings to get group runs in. Group runs are a great idea, especially if you have any concerns about your safety while you are out and on the course, on your own personal course. Of course, on race day, race morning, those courses are normally so filled with people, it's not really a concern. This really pertains to your evening runs, your early morning runs, your solo runs, and all the stuff you shouldn't have to worry about. So those are just some of the things that I could find to talk about. I know I don't sound very amused at all, and I'm really not, because of the absolute sadness of this situation. That woman was a mother. She was a teacher. She was a wife. So I'm going to sidetrack here. I'm going to sidetrack real quick, and pardon me, indulge me for a moment. I'll bring it back around. So I remember years ago, and I mean, this is 15 years ago, if not more. I grew up, because I was a boy, a huge wrestling fan. Okay. I love the pro wrestling stuff. It was my escape. It was my fantasy world. It was just, it was a male soap opera in tights. And so I loved it. And I got to be what they call a smart fan. I wanted to learn about the business. I wanted to, know the wrestlers' real names. I know that this was all fake. And, I like predicting the storylines based on what made sense and this, that, and the other. So I was really into that world until there was a wrestler. His name was Chris Benoit. Because of all the concussions he had suffered doing this sport, he eventually went crazy and he killed his wife and son. Hugely tragic event. And when that happened, it was like the real world and my fantasy world collided. And so I stopped watching pro wrestling because of that. And I was gone for years and years and years and years and years. It's been a long time, because my fantasy world and my reality came crashing together. And I feel like it's the same thing with the running situation, with this situation now. Running is my escape. Running is my escape from reality, from responsibilities. It's where I can think. It's where I can get my body exercise so I can keep my health up, and I can, think about what I need to do that week. I can think about what I want to talk about on this podcast. I can think about the races I want to do. I can worry about anything. I mean, you guys know how it is. When you're on a run, your mind can go anywhere. And now we can't let our minds just go wandering completely off the path. We got to keep part of it on. Am I safe? Is this car following me? Is that person looking at me funny? Am I running confidently enough? And it really, really just, it kills me that it has to be a thing now. It was easy to walk away from wrestling after all that happened, but I can't walk away from running. I can't let this situation just say, my two worlds collided again. I'm out. I'm not going to run anymore. Not going to talk about running. Not going to do any more races. Not going to go for a training run. Not going to go out at night. I can't do that. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want anyone to now have to question their desire to run based on this situation. And it's unfair that even has to be a concern. And it is a concern. It's a very real concern. All right. Your safety, ladies, especially, is a very real concern. And I don't have all the answers. I can't tell you what to do so that this is never an issue. Again, it's all about risk aversion because there is no risk avoidance. The only way to avoid this situation is to never go run again. And that is not an option. That is simply not an option. So now we've got to figure out, how do we as the running community make it safer for everyone to go run? And I don't have that answer. I don't. I wish I did. I can't tell you, ladies, how to run with no issues at all. But I hope you don't stop. And I hope you stay very safe. And if there's anything I can do to help a runner stay safe, I will gladly do it. I think group runs are a great idea. They really are. I personally haven't done them because I'm scared. I am scared to go to a group run because I know the fast ones are going to be like gazelles and just pew, gone. And then my slow pokey ass is going to be out there running my 12-minute mile and be like, well, everyone's gone. Oh, look, they've already turned around at the 8-mile mark. I guess I'll just turn around here and maybe I'll get 4 miles in. Something like that. I have been a big chicken my entire running career on doing group runs. And people have asked me before, oh, we should go run together. Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, anytime. Let's go. Knowing that they'll smoke me and I'll just feel like this super slow waste of space. But, if group runs is the answer for you, then absolutely go do a group run. If you have to leave your headphones at home now so that you can be more in tune of what's around you, then I guess we're going to have to start running without music. And then but overall, the answer to this problem, I don't have, except just be aware. Awareness, I guess, is the biggest thing. Be aware of where you're at, where you're going, who you're with, what's around you, and what might be behind you, as unfair as that is to say. But unfortunately, that's where we're at after situations like Ahmaud Arbery and now this one in Memphis, Tennessee. So ladies, just please stay safe. I would love it if you guys want to reach out to the show. If you guys want to give me any of your tips, any of your tricks, anything that you have found works as safety for you, then please, by all means, send it to me. Send it to me on Instagram. Send it to me on Facebook. And next show, I'll list them off. I will give out more ideas. I will give out more tips and more tricks as they are presented to me rather than just what I can find. And I just want to share all of it with everyone to try and keep as many runners as we can safe. It's all about keeping everyone safe. So that's where I'm going to leave this episode. I know it's definitely a downer episode, and I'm actually upset about this. I did not want to have to talk about this. We've got 2 races this weekend we got to talk about. There's the Patriots run, which was at T-Mobile campus on Saturday. And then Sunday we had the Plaza 10K, which is a huge event around town. And so we'll talk about those next week. We'll kind of go over the races as we're in full blown fall running season. The weather's not quite cooperating yet, but I feel like it's getting closer. Thankfully, it's not been as bad as it was, but it's September. It shouldn't be. But we're getting a little closer to the nice, cool weather. We've got a lot more running events coming up. So please, I know one of the big ones coming up is Hope on the Hill. That's a friend of the show. They've been on the show and talked about their race before. If you haven't heard that episode, go back and find the Hope on the Hill episode. Make sure you listen to that. That race is right around the corner. Like I said, Plaza 10K is coming right up. And then there's a few others just kind of sprinkled around. So we'll hope to see you guys out there. Don't forget that we are confirmed, we will have a table at the Garmin Kansas City Marathon Expo. So when you go to the expo to get your packet, whether it be 5K, 10K, half or full, please come by the table and say hello. I will be there and producer Katie will be there. I think my kids are going to be there, but the whole back of the pack crew is going to be there. We're going to have bracelets and stickers to give away. You can purchase a shirt if you so desire. We're going to try and find some other fun stuff to do. But we do have a table brought to you by Toby Reber Realty. He's with Keller Williams. You're going to see advertisements for him. And then the law offices at Tel Parrott. They both went in and sponsored us to have this table at the expo. Just drop by and say hi. We're going to try and kind of pick up our mood a little bit here after the events of this week. But please be safe out there. Reach out to the show if there's any tips and if there's anything you would like for us to do. If I need to do an episode about a certain subject, or if we need to go over a certain aspect of safety, man, I will do it. I'll research the hell out of it and we will talk about it for the full show. You just let me know what that is, what is going to help you guys out the most, and I am on it. Please go to www.backofthepackpodcast.com. You can see our awesome website. We can try and get more traffic there. And then, of course, just keep trying to spread the word about the podcast. If you like what we're doing, and I hope you do, make sure you like, comment, share, get it out to your friends. We kind of stagnated on our growth a little bit. And if you ain't growing, you're dying. I don't want us to be dying. So anything you guys want to do to try and continue to get this show out to the people, it is greatly appreciated. So this is the Back of the Pack podcast brought to you by OKKC Sports. I am your host, Kyle Walker. The show is produced by Katie O'Neill, and we'll be back next week to break down a few of the races. And hey, everybody, please stay safe out there. Love y'all.